helping suffering people die. When someone is suffering deeply, should we not help that person die? See, when you were born, your mother suffered immensely. So, if we believe it is okay to relieve someone of their suffering by killing, we should have killed her or killed you at that time. Do you think people on their deathbed are suffering as much or more than those in the labor ward? Not necessarily. This question is coming up these days because we are seeing more and more people surviving as vegetables here for a long time. This prolonged suffering would not be there if you did not unnecessarily interfere with the process of life and go on medically pushing death. Without this, no one will stay beyond their natural death. Does it mean that when you get a disease, we should withdraw all medical support? No. Many people have bounced back from all kinds of hopeless situations. Many times, people thought someone would die, but they just bounced back and lived on. So, should we not give these people also a chance? Who is to decide who should be helped to die and when? If there is 100% medical prognosis that there is no way to recover, they can withdraw the medication. But where is the need to push someone into death by injecting a poison or something else? If you withdraw medication, if the body is not fit for life, life will move on. It is not for you to decide whether the body is fit or not, unless you are conscious of the extent that you can drop it and go. If you are afraid of old age and suffering, why don't you start doing some sadhana now to prepare yourself so that you can leave when you want to? Why do you want to wait for that moment and ask your son or daughter to give you poison? Please see, your asking them to poison you is not fair to them. Even if out of their compassion or love they give you poison, can they ever forget it? You will go anyway, but why are you burdening those who have to live for a long time with all these things? You can live in such a way that you don't need anyone's mercy. You can live your life to a plan. You live as long as it is effective, and you live gracefully when you have to live, not through mercy killing. Why don't you pursue these options? Right now, it may seem that this mercy killing is fine. In society today, people may think it is a revolutionary idea. There are always people who want to be progressive, who are advocating mercy killing. If you are really progressive, why don't you empower individuals with the power to set their body at will? This is what I am doing, helping people grow into such a capability that they can terminate their life by will when the time comes, but not by poison or by a pillow. These days, there is another kind of situation. Because of modern medical intervention, there are more and more cases of people who remain in vegetative states for a long time. And some of them bounce back to life even after many years in that state. So the people around them go through an enormous struggle trying to decide whether or not to pull the plug on their loved ones. This happened in Morocco. Sankaran Pillai was living in Europe. He had aged a little bit and was watching some program on the television about old age homes and hospices. Watching the program, he told his Moroccan wife, "Darling, if it ever happens that I become vegetative, I want you to pull the plug. I don't want to go through all this. You must just pull the plug." She looked at him and got up and pulled the television plug. So, this decision to pull the plug can be very tricky. Now, about the people who bounce back to life from vegetative or near death states. Don't think that they died and were put back. That is not true. It might have so happened that the life force was so shocked it became more projected outward than inward. Even in the conscious state, you are partially outward projected, mostly inward projected. Inward projection of life energies gives you organic unity and stability of life. Outward projection gives you a strong presence and expression of life. This seesaw is naturally happening with all life, including human beings. But human beings with a certain mastery can make this into a conscious choice of this dimensional shift. Therefore, at that moment, it might have been so that you were mostly outward projected, partially inward projected. So, life was making a decision to be or not to be. This is not a philosophical question, but a practical question about whether the body is fit enough to be or not be. So, after doing this, to be or not to be, seesaw for some time, if it chose to be, it is not because of medical workers or a miracle. Maybe the medical workers made the body a little more hospitable than what it would have been, but it is always life which makes the decision to stay because the body is still hospitable. If one has an enhanced perception, it is possible to make an assessment of a patient's life chances based on the vibrancy of the pranamaya kosha or energy body. It is possible to say if a person's life energies are intense enough for recovery to happen. On the other hand, even if the body is not obviously unwell, but the patient's pranic energy are at a low ebb, recovery is impossible, no matter what the intervention. It is a question of software. If the software has run out, no matter what you do, it will not renew itself. But not everyone has the perception to make such a decision. It is therefore best to let life take its course rather than allow people to issue a death certificate for the living. Now, there are two kinds of vegetative states. In one condition, the body becomes so inert that you are not able to get it going. But the mind is active, the emotion is active, and all perceptions are intact. This is torture for the person because the body refuses to move. This can lead to a lot of suffering because they can see, they can hear, they can smell, they can understand, but they lack the ability to do anything. They want to get up and walk, but the body has become inert. Now it is a very difficult decision for anyone to take. Moreover, many a time the person understands all the things that are spoken around them, whether to pull the plug or not, and all that. It is a very bad situation. It should not happen to anyone, but when it happens, how to deal with it? This is a hard decision to make. There is no particular way to do it because it depends on individual sensitivities. The other kind is where the body seems to be reasonable, vibrant, and active, digests food, and everything is happening, but the mind has become inert, so the body cannot act. The body is still kept alive because you are keeping it going with all the medical processes. This is like an empty cell that is kept alive, incapable of any response. If this is the case, you can wait for 5 cycles of 21 days and then take a call. After that, if things are still the same, you can pull the plug. You can be 100% sure that the life cannot be revived. Well, this may sound very drastic to you, but these days many honest doctors are asking the relatives to take the patient home when they know there is no point continuing to meddle with them. But those who just want to serve bills to you would be interested in kicking the can. Today, Advances in palliative care and pain relief have reached a point where most of the pain that a person experiences on the deathbed can be removed with appropriate medication. But people ask, will the use of painkillers somehow affect the quality of death that is imminent? Is there some merit in going through the full suffering on the deathbed? These questions arise because of all those moralistic teachings in the world that enduring pain and enduring suffering are virtues and is a way to atone for one's sins. This happened. A new batch of people landed in heaven. All of them were golfers. They asked if there are golf course in heaven. Saint Peter said, of course. They asked, can we see it? Is it okay? He asked the Holy Ghost to drive them in a golf cart. So he drove them through a fabulous golf course full of flowers, greenery, and everything. When they crossed the third hole, they saw that there was a pit full of fire and people were burning, screaming, and yelling. They looked at this and asked, what is this? We thought there was no suffering in heaven. The Holy Ghost said, they are religious people, they insist. So, when someone is on the deathbed, is it okay to use painkillers? If it is a non-sedative painkillers, and if you are able to maintain a reasonable amount of consciousness, it is perfectly fine to take them. Why do you want to go through pain if there is no medical need to suffer it? But if the painkillers are overly sedative and you are not even barely conscious, then it is not the best way to live.